You know you're smart. You've seen the proof. You solve problems no one else can. You ace the exams. You have those moments of stunning clarity where the whole world just clicks into place. On paper, you're brilliant. So why does your own mind sometimes feel like enemy territory? Why is there a constant, quiet hum of self-doubt telling you it's all just a fluke? You might feel misunderstood or overlooked, but let's be honest, the loudest critic isn't out there. They're in your head. This is the paradox of the hidden genius. You have a powerful intellect, but it's shackled by a self-image that just won't get on board. You feel stuck, not because you lack ability, but because something inside is actively working against you. That something is your self-image. It's like an unconscious filter that prioritizes the familiar feeling of struggle over the terrifying uncertainty of your own potential. And the ways it does this aren't just subtle, they're shocking, because they fly in the face of everything you know you can do. Let's pull back the curtain on the 5 hidden ways your own self-image is systematically sabotaging your genius. These aren't character flaws. They're deeply ingrained psychological and neurological patterns, and understanding them is the first step to finally breaking free. Let's start with the most famous saboteur, the impostor phenomenon. It's that nagging, persistent feeling that you're a fraud, just one mistake away from being exposed. You could have a wall of degrees and a chorus of people praising your work, but that inner voice dismisses it all. That promotion? Luck? That breakthrough idea? A happy accident? That complex problem you solved? You just worked harder, not smarter. This isn't humility. It's a cognitive distortion that's especially common among high achievers. In fact, searches for imposter syndrome surged by a staggering 75% in early 2024, showing just how many people feel this way. For the misunderstood intellectual, it's even worse. When you already feel like society doesn't see your unique intelligence, that inner imposter feels less like a doubt and more like a confirmation. It whispers, "See? They don't get you because there's nothing to get. You're not a genius. You're just faking it, and not very well." This creates a devastating feedback loop. To cope with the fear of being exposed, you might over-prepare, working twice as hard, which just reinforces the belief that your success comes from brute force, not skill. Or you might do the opposite, procrastinate and self-handicap, creating excuses for failure before you even start. The shocking result isn't just a little anxiety. It's a direct path to stalled careers, chronic stress, and even depression. It forces your genius into hiding, convincing you to play small and live in fear of a judgment day that only exists in your mind. The first step to dismantling this is to become an archivist of your own success. Keep an evidence log. Write down your accomplishments with objective facts, not dismissive language. And reframe your self-talk. Instead of, "I got lucky," try, "I earned this with my skill and dedication." You have to build a case for your own competence, piece by piece, until the evidence is too overwhelming for the inner imposter to ignore. If the imposter phenomenon is the fear that you're a fraud, the fixed mindset is the belief system that gives that fear its power. A fixed mindset, a concept from psychologist Carol Dweck, is the belief that intelligence is a static, unchangeable trait. You're either born a genius or you're not. For someone who already feels misunderstood, a fixed mindset is a cage. Every struggle isn't an opportunity for growth. It's proof of your built-in limitations. And here's where it gets shocking. In a fixed mindset, effort isn't a good thing. It's a sign of weakness. The thinking goes, "If I were a real genius, I wouldn't have to try so hard." This toxic belief directly fuels the imposter feeling. It creates a paralyzing fear of failure because failure is no longer a setback. It's a permanent verdict on your intelligence. To protect a fragile ego built on being naturally smart, you start avoiding challenges. Why risk trying something difficult and proving you're not a genius after all? It feels safer to stick to what you know. The result is stagnation. Your genius, a dynamic, evolving capacity, gets locked away, treated like a precious resource to be protected, not developed. You turn down opportunities that would stretch your skills, all to avoid the discomfort of not being perfect immediately. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is the belief that intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. People with a growth mindset see effort as the path to mastery and failure as a necessary part of learning. Cultivating this is about shifting your goals from proving your genius to developing it. Focus on learning goals, not just performance goals. Instead of, I need an A to prove I'm smart, try, I want to master these concepts to expand my understanding. By doing this, you release your genius from its cage and give it what it needs to flourish, permission to grow. You have a brilliant idea. You feel that spark of excitement. And then, you do nothing. You check emails, organize your desk, and fall down a research rabbit hole. This isn't laziness. This is your brain's ancient survival wiring sabotaging your modern genius. This is the fear of failure, showing up as procrastination. Here's what's happening in your brain. Your amygdala, the threat detection center, flags the uncertainty of the new project as a danger. The risk of failure feels like a threat to your self-image, triggering a subtle fight-or-flight response. Your rational prefrontal cortex gets overruled by your emotional limbic system, which just wants immediate relief from the discomfort. And what provides instant relief? Avoidance. Procrastination is just a strategy to avoid the anxiety that comes with a hard task. This creates a vicious cycle. You delay the task, which feels good for a minute, but ultimately increases your stress as the deadline looms. You might overthink an email for hours, paralyzed by the fear of saying the wrong thing. You might ghost a promising opportunity because the application feels overwhelming. You tell yourself you're just bad at time management. But the shocking truth is that it's a safety strategy. Your brain is prioritizing the predictable misery of stagnation over the unpredictable risks of stepping into your genius. You can't just willpower your way out of this. You're fighting your own brain chemistry. The key is to manage the emotion, not just the task. Use specificity to calm your amygdala. Don't write the book. Just open a document and write one sentence. This makes the task less threatening. Or just pause and acknowledge the feeling. Say to yourself, my brain is flagging this as a threat because it's uncertain. That moment of mindfulness can create enough space to let your rational brain come back online and make a better choice. This might be the most backward saboteur of all. We talk about the fear of failure, but what about the fear of success? It sounds crazy that anyone would be afraid of getting exactly what they want. But for many high achievers, success can be just as terrifying. Fear of success is the unconscious worry that achieving something will bring negative consequences. What if success changes you? What if it isolates you from your friends? What if it raises the bar to an impossibly high new standard you can't maintain? For someone who already feels like an outsider, success threatens to put you in a spotlight you never wanted, where your fraudulence could be exposed on a much bigger stage. This fear leads to some truly baffling self-sabotage. You're about to close a huge deal, and you suddenly pick a fight with your partner. You finally get a promotion, and you start showing up late. This is called self-handicapping, unconsciously creating obstacles so that if you do fail, you have something to blame. But more shockingly, you might just quit right before the finish line. The anxiety of what comes after success becomes so overwhelming that the familiar comfort of almost feels safer. Psychologically, success can trigger an identity crisis. If your self-image is the struggling, misunderstood genius, who are you when you're no longer struggling? To fight this, you have to upgrade your identity to match your results. Visualize the positive outcomes of success, the new opportunities, the people you can help. Acknowledge the fears. Are you scared of new responsibilities? Just naming those fears can shrink their power. See success not as a final destination, but as one stop on a lifelong journey of growth. You reached one peak. Now you get to explore the next one. The final saboteur provides the constant, droning soundtrack to all the others. Perfectionism, driven by a relentless inner critic. This isn't healthy striving for excellence. This is maladaptive perfectionism, the belief that you must be flawless, and anything less is a catastrophe. This voice often comes from early life experiences where you learned your worth was tied to your performance. For the misunderstood genius, perfectionism feels like a necessary shield. If I can just make it perfect, you think, then no one can criticize me. But this is a trap. A perfectionist's standards are, by definition, unrealistic. You're setting yourself up to fail. This leads to two outcomes: paralysis and self-punishment. The fear of not being perfect stops you from starting at all, a direct line back to procrastination. And when you do finish something, your inner critic immediately points out every flaw. You get a 99 on a test and obsess over the 1 point you lost. The shocking impact is that you become your own worst enemy, doing the work of your critics for them. Overcoming this requires a conscious effort to practice self-compassion. When you hear that critical voice, don't fight it. Label it. This is my perfectionist thinking. This creates distance, reminding you it's a thought pattern, not a fact. Challenge the all-or-nothing thinking. Is it really true that if your work isn't flawless, it's a total failure? Replace harsh musts with "I will aim for." Finally, deliberately celebrate good enough. Handing in a project that's 80% perfect but on time is a greater victory over self-sabotage than endlessly polishing something that never sees the light of day. These 5 saboteurs, the impostor, the fixed mindset, the fear of failure, the fear of success, and the perfectionist critic, aren't separate enemies. They're an interconnected system, a web of limiting beliefs that keep your self-image small while your intellect is vast. They create a self-fulfilling prophecy where your inner world of doubt prevents you from getting the external success that would disprove it. But here's the key. These are learned patterns. They are not you. Your genius isn't broken. It's just been sabotaged by a self-image that was built for safety, not for greatness. Breaking these patterns isn't an overnight fix. It's a journey. It means becoming a detective of your own mind, noticing these patterns without judgment, and consistently choosing a different response. It means gathering evidence to fight the imposter, embracing challenges to grow your mindset, and taking small, imperfect steps to rewire your brain's fear response. It means meeting your inner critic with compassion, not compliance. You have the intelligence. You've always had it. The real work isn't becoming smarter, but building a self-image strong enough to let your genius finally step out of the shadows. You deserve to feel as brilliant as you truly are. If you got value from this video, like it and subscribe to our channel.